if 90% of Americans are nutrient deficient, it's probably the same thing from a hydration perspective. And both of us grew up playing baseball, and Harry played football and other sports too, and just like chugging Gatorade, having no idea how much sugar and how little electrolyte content is in there. So I'm sure that was a huge inspiration for you to just push SAPS out into the world and really teach people about hydration, right?
Yeah, totally. It's and y'all dive into this way more than I do, but it's a product of people having bad diets and our food system just being messed up. And there's a huge need for electrolyte supplementation, and I kind of got to witness that firsthand at another hydration brand, and that was what led me to start this. So I definitely agree. Like the aisle of isotonics is what they call it, or sports drinks, whatever, is like still one of the most unhealthy aisles in a grocery store. And it just blows my mind because it's like these things are promoted as these like healthy things, right? Like all these amazing athletes are drinking these products, so it's got to be good for me. And the reality is it's just not. It's no different than drinking, Cokes and Pepsis and all that. So
why are sports drinks so unhealthy? Like, seems like it should be the opposite.
I wish I knew the answer. It's certainly not just one thing, but I think it goes back to really the creation of Gatorade, which was in the 60s, was for the Florida football team. And at the time, it was kind of this revolutionary breakthrough. But if you go back and like listen to people talk about it, like it tasted terrible. And you had players that were like throwing up after drinking it and stuff. So I think just fast forward to where we are today, it started as this very intentional, let's make hydration more effective. And it's just morphed into really just corporate greed. Like, let's make this as accessible and as tasty as possible so we can just pump it in all these different channels, whether it be at a, Whataburger, like getting Powerade on tap. It's really moved away from what it was initially created to be. So
yeah, it's wild to look at the original Gatorade formula. I put a tweet out about it maybe over a year ago, where it was sodium, magnesium, potassium, good quality water, lemon juice, and maybe a few other things. Contrasted to now, it's like 20 plus ingredients. And what do you know what the sugar content is in Gatorade? It's got to be like 20, 30 plus grams.
So it's got 4 times the formula now has 4 times the amount of sugar that it did when it was first created.
Wow.
And now, I mean, if you're drinking the just standard stuff, you're looking at probably 40 grams for like 16 ounce, which, I mean, yeah, there's a place for carbs when you're working out, but that's not what you need.
Yeah,
no.
Clearly. And so sure, they have, sugar-free alternatives, but those things have chemicals in there you don't want. So
Take me back to the early innings of you starting SAPS. Like, what was going through your head? You see the market, a lot of these unhealthy drinks. What kind of things were you thinking about when you were just getting going?
Yeah, so I was at another hydration brand, was early on that team, helped them experience a lot of success. And what I realized was that just like normal average people were reaching out to us saying, hey, I stumbled on this product. I started drinking it every single day and I feel amazing. And it was this kind of aha moment, like, wow, like more people need this. It doesn't matter if you're a super active person or not. Like you just need more electrolytes in your diet because we're not getting it from the foods that we're eating. And ended up leaving that company, was kind of trying to figure out what to do next, but still in the back of my mind was like, I know this space pretty well. I see the new products that are coming out. I see kind of what people are looking for. And my business partner, Trey, approached me and was like, hey, let's go build an electrolyte brand. I know you can do it. I'll put up some capital. And so it really all stemmed from this idea of like seeing firsthand consumers have an experience with a product, realizing like there's a real need for this. Let's go make something that's better for people, that's actually more natural, that has some awesome ingredients in it that more people need.
Love that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple, like great idea, right business partner, didn't overcomplicate it, just pushed and got a product to market.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like passionate about hydration, right? Like I care about helping people live a healthier life and, kind of feeling better in the day-to-day basis. And this seemed like the right niche to go after and try and accomplish that with.
How'd you kind of bridge the gap from working for somebody else to now being a first-time founder, just like really taking all the risk yourself? Like, it's a massive leap to take, but curious how you kind of stomach that and then just like thought through kind of getting the ball rolling.
I mean, every day you're stomaching it, right? Like you're taking gut punches every day, so you just have to accept that.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not the gut.
I going back before that, like I'd always kind of wanted to start something. I went to a business school here in Austin that was super focused on entrepreneurship. Did like some startup work post that in different industries, and then kind of settled into CPG. Like, it was at the time when I got involved, like still like super high growth, massive opportunity. You're seeing these just like crazy revenue multiples. And I think even back then, like this kind of better for you category was just starting to catch waves. And it just seemed like a really fun industry to be a part of. I think it's this idea of kind of meshing analytical thinking with creative problem solving. And that's kind of my sweet spot. And so I didn't, 10 years ago, I wasn't like, oh, I want to start a hydration brand, but it just through life experiences led me to that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of have this internal motivation to eventually start your own thing. It was just a matter of really finding that right opportunity, right business partner, and you found that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I remember when Devin had connected us over email, and the first thing that stood out was like the red just like pops on the website. But then the unique thing is like the red can that you guys have. And I feel like so many hydration products, whether they're healthy or not, it's either a stick pack, it's either a bottle. I think just you guys not only having an amazing formulation, but just like the drinkability of it and just the overall look and aesthetic is super interesting. What made you decide to choose a can versus some of these other options that might have been cheaper or easier to create?
Yeah, I mean, early on, we had plenty of people we were pitching to raise money. They were like, guys, I think the can's the wrong choice. If you had it in a bottle, I would invest. Like, we definitely have dealt with plenty of kind of pushback on that front. But in reality it's like you have to be different in this industry, and it's very hard to differentiate yourself. And it really felt like the puck was headed towards more sustainable packaging, particularly aluminum. And Liquid Death had started really taking off at that time. So it just seemed like a no-brainer. Let's go be really like the first active hydration drink in aluminum. And that opened up some great opportunities for us that, customers that are looking for more sustainable packaging, but also kind of just like the social element of it. I think there's something special about holding a can in your hands when you're with friends versus this like bulky, ugly plastic bottle. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of the initial thought process there.
Are there any other hydration drinks that are in a can that are doing well?
Yeah, there's been a few that have popped up. Some guys out of California named Leisure, they're killing it right now. There's a newer brand called Local Weather. It's got some like celebrity backing, but it's like an aluminum bottle. It's not actually a can. So, but there's going to be more,
Yep.
It's kind of like green space. No one's really thought to put electrolytes in a can for a long time. And I think it's a product of people like us wanting to just consume electrolytes more casually, not just like during a workout, is really what's driving that.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like most people don't think to just drink like a SAPS or a SAPS-like product, just electrolytes during the day. But even the course of anyone's day, you're going to be losing electrolytes, and your cognitive performance will take a hit if you aren't hydrated the right way. So
totally,
just for like anyone, if you're sitting at a desk, like this type of product is totally worth investing in because it will make you feel better. And then there's also adaptogens in there too. So it's like kind of get the hydration benefits and the adaptogen benefits all in one.
Well, the average person doesn't know, the stuff that's causing them to kind of flush electrolytes out of their system, right? Like you drink 3 cups of coffee, you're going to end up peeing out about 1,000 milligrams of sodium from that. So lots of caffeine intake, depending on what you're eating. I mean, you could just be outside sweating with how hot it is right now. And you need to refuel with some electrolytes. And I think some of that has to do with just like the misconception around salt. And y'all know this pretty well, but it certainly has to be a part of your daily routine if you want to be feeling and performing your best.
Yeah, it's crazy, all the health misconceptions and the fear that so many people have around sodium and salt in general. And both Harry and I and a lot of people that listen to the podcast have noticed that the more sodium, the more electrolytes they consume, the better that they feel. Like the keto flu is really common when you're transitioning to a low carb diet. And we think that's just an electrolyte deficiency because anytime I feel off or have a headache, as soon as I take, drink one of these beverages or have, just throw salt in my water or whatever it is, I immediately feel better really quickly. Mm-hmm. So I think that's spot on.
Yeah, my wife, I think she gets annoyed. And I've been doing this before we started SAPS, but I was always like, she'd be like, oh, my head's hurting or I'm feeling really tired this afternoon. I'm like, have you had any electrolytes?
Yeah.
She's like, please stop.
Yeah.
I get it. So
it's so true though. I mean, I have to catch myself on that. I'll be like, I'm tired or I'm not, in a weird headspace. And it's like, I haven't had any water with, and it's not just water, it's water with the minerals in it. We get water mostly from like the supermarket these days. It's not from a spring. So we need to actually have those minerals in the water in order to get the effect of the hydration.
And I mean, you're starting to see new water brands pop up that they're sourcing it from wells. It's got these trace minerals in it. It's really exciting. Like, I think people need that, but it's not always the most practical thing to be buying the only water you drink, like in that format. So having something like this, and honestly, I hope there's kind of like a macro shift away from caffeine in general and energy drinks to more of this stuff. Because I think like this stuff could actually be more kind of sustainable than just pounding a Red Bull and then feeling a crash afterwards. Because, like you're saying, most people, you just need electrolytes. You don't really need caffeine to kind of feel that boost.
Totally.
That's actually really exciting to think about, throwing in a little bit of like natural green tea extract. And then the size of the can is similar to a Monster or some of those like Reign or some of those other beverages. So I think if you put it in that section, people would immediately be like, oh, wow, this is a better for you caffeine drink. That's super interesting to think about.
Well, we're only trying to take one industry on right now. So
you got your work cut out.
Maybe if somebody buys us, they can foray into the energy world.
Yeah, throw that SKU on there.
Sell that dream to somebody else.
Yeah.